Hey everyone, has this ever happened to you? A friend asks for a huge favor, or your boss piles on another last-minute project. You know you don't have the time or energy, but you hear yourself saying sure, no problem, even as your stomach ties itself in knots. Then, the mere thought of saying no floods you with this overwhelming sense of guilt. Why is it so hard to protect our own time and energy? Why do we feel so bad for setting boundaries? Today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind this guilt and, more importantly, how to overcome it. So, where does this guilt actually come from? Well, a big part of it is social conditioning. From a young age, many of us are taught to be agreeable, selfless, and to always put others' needs before our own. We're praised for being helpful and accommodating. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it can create a deep-seated belief that prioritizing ourselves is inherently selfish or wrong. We start to associate our value with how much we can do for others, so when we can't meet a request, it feels like we're failing in our social role. Another major factor is the fear of rejection. We are social creatures, hardwired to seek connection and avoid conflict. Setting a boundary feels risky. We worry that saying no will disappoint someone, make them angry, or even damage the relationship. Will they think I'm a bad friend, a difficult employee? Will they stop liking me? This fear of disapproval can be so powerful that we'd rather sacrifice our own well-being than face potential conflict. It's a primal instinct to maintain social harmony, even at our own expense. And this leads to a huge misconception about what boundaries really are. We often view them as walls we put up to push people away. We think of them as selfish or aggressive. But that's not it at all. Healthy boundaries are not about rejecting others. They're about respecting yourself. Think of it like a fence around your yard. The fence doesn't say, "Keep out." It says, "This is my space, and I get to decide who and what comes in." Boundaries are a signal to yourself and others that your needs, feelings, and limits are important. They are the foundation for healthy, sustainable relationships, not a barrier to them. Okay, so we understand the why. But how do we actually stop feeling so guilty? The good news is, it's a skill you can learn. The first step is to start small. You don't have to go from being a yes person to saying no to everything overnight. Practice with low-stakes situations. Maybe it's saying I can't talk right now. Can I call you back in an hour? Or I can't make it to that event, but I'd love to catch up next week. Each small win builds your confidence and proves that the world won't end when you set a boundary. A game-changing technique is to use I statements. This is all about how you frame your response. Instead of saying something confrontational like, "You're asking for too much," which can put the other person on the defensive, try framing it from your perspective. Say something like, "I'm feeling really overwhelmed with my workload right now, so I can't take on anything extra," or "I need some quiet time to recharge this evening." I statements communicate your needs clearly and honestly without blaming or accusing the other person. It's not about them, it's about you and your limits. Finally, and this is the most important part, you have to reframe your mindset. Start seeing boundaries not as an act of selfishness, but as an essential form of self-care and self-respect. When you're constantly drained and overextended, you can't show up as your best self for anyone, not for your friends, your family, or yourself. Setting boundaries ensures you have the energy to give when you truly want to and are able to. It actually strengthens your relationships because they become based on mutual respect and honesty, not on obligation and resentment. Your well-being is not a luxury, it's a necessity. So, let's bring it all together. Feeling guilty when you first start setting boundaries is completely normal. It's a sign that you're breaking old patterns and stepping into a new way of relating to yourself and others. Remember that boundaries are not about pushing people away. They're about creating healthier, more respectful connections. It's a journey, not a destination. By starting small, using I statements, and reframing your mindset, you can move from guilt to empowerment. You are worthy of your own time and energy. Thank you so much for watching. If this video resonated with you, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content on building a happier, healthier life. I'd love to hear your own experiences with setting boundaries in the comments below. See you in the next one.